Hey everyone, and welcome back to the C++ tutorial. I finally got moved into Seattle, so I am excited to get back into these tutorials. I'm really sorry about the long wait. Just moving logistically is a hassle, and getting all settled in to living and getting set up at my job took a while, so sorry about the wait, but we're back at it. So I was watching the last video to get some clarity on what I should do next, and I realized I was really not clear about this concept, so I'm going to try to break it down a little bit better about pass by reference and pass by value. So as we saw in our last example, we add a calculator and we're talking about pass by reference, pass by value. For whatever reason that code's deleted, so I'm not going to redo it. I'm going to kind of explain a different example. Very simple though. So I'll walk you through what it looks like kind of on a higher level. So we have this int main. For the reference, we have int main. We have a int first value, and we're going to pass that in by reference, and we're going to change that value, and then we're going to come out and return, and then same exact idea, but we'll pass it by value. So for passing by reference, pretty much it's using the same address. It's actually passing like the address in instead of making a copy, so it can change the value. So before we go in, we set the value as 10. So we do right here, we set this as 10. And then once we're inside, we're going to change the value to 15. And when we come out, this first value is actually going to be 15 because that's what we're doing by passing by reference. When we pass it by value though, we set it as 10 up in main. We go into the function, pass in 10 into the function, and we're actually making a copy of whatever this is right here. And then, so let me grab this. So we're making a copy of whatever this is, and we're going to be pasting it into 15a. And so initially it'll be 10, and then after we make the change, it'll overwrite to 15. But when we come back out to main, we're still looking at this address for first value. And so that's going to be 10. So this address was only like a temporary address to work with inside the temp function. And then once we leave the temp function, we actually go back to our original address, which is 10. Whereas when we're in here, we actually take a copy of the address, pass it in. So when we make any changes, we're directly changing on the original address of 055. So it'd be 10 at first when it gets passed in, but then we overwrite it with 15, and that's on that address. So when we leave, we still have 15. So if you could just kind of blindly follow along with that, I'll kind of show you in code what I mean by that. So we have a very simple function. We have main, we have temp. Main is going to assign the first value to be 10. We're going to output just to confirm what that value is. Then we're going to pass in that into 10. And so the first time we do it, we'll do it pass by reference. So it passes in the 10, which is also that address. And so when we overwrite it with 15, we should see 15 here. But when we leave, we should also see 15, because when it comes back out, it's going to be the same address. Versus when we do it by value, it comes out to 055 when we were overwriting 15a there. And these address numbers are just made up. They're not like what your actual address is. So let's just take a look at this. Maybe it'll be more clear to you guys if we take a look. So, gotta do the same setup. There we go. And main.exe. So we expect to see 10. And then when we go in, we expect to see 15 here. And because it's reference with this little and symbol, we expect that it should be 15 on 3 because we're overwriting the actual address with 15. So when we come back to main and look at its original first value address, that should be 15 too. So hit it here. So we have 10, 15, 15. So now I want to show you by value, which we expect to be 10, 15, 10, because when we are overwriting it here, we copy 10 onto this address, then we overwrite 15 on 15a, and when we leave to go check at the end, we're actually going to be on 055 address again. and so it should just be 10 still. So if we go back into the code, we go back, we recompile. Actually, I need to save this first if we want to make that work. We need to, oh, yep, there we go. Recompile, main.exe. So it's 10, 15, 10, and that's because we assign 10. We pass it, so we check here, then we pass it into here, but since it's by value, we're actually going to make a copy of this value and paste it into a different address, as you can see. So we make a copy, we paste it into the new address, we change it, so when we're inside this function, it's changed, but once we return and get out, we should be looking back at first values 0x055. So drop a comment down below the video if this is still a confusing topic, and I'll try to get you guys some reference material that maybe can explain it a little bit better. But it's a little hard because we haven't talked a lot about addresses, and that's kind of everything behind programming and computers, is things are saved into addresses. And so when you have value versus reference, one thing to note is passing by reference saves memory. So if you're working on like a small system, you can see we're not using another memory address. We're actually just going in, we're overwriting the same memory address, we're coming out with the same. When you pass it by value, we actually have to copy everything that's in 055 into 15A. So if you have, a long, say it's not just a single integer, but it's a array of integers, and we have like 1 million integers in that array, you have to copy over every single integer into that array into a new array, which can, use up some of your memory. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Anyways, have a good one, and I will see you next time, and hopefully it's not going to be a month and a half break. So hope you guys enjoy, and remember, drop a comment if this is still confusing, and I'll find you some reference material. Thanks. Bye.